Syndicate Like a Dragon, and you were here last time because Fire Mana was here, and we were both like, "Hey, it's Fire Mana."
We were like, "Hey, it's Fire Mana." Hi, Parker, if you're watching.
Oh, and we're already ready for draft, so we are going to start off with Game 1 draft right away, but
we're not allowed to stall any longer, Meta. Here we go.
Yeah, we're not allowed to stall. Yeah, I mean, I guess like players to watch. I think mid lane matchups can be very important. If I know anything about Syndicate Like a Dragon, it's definitely gonna be watching Fire Mana pop off or not. It's gonna be one of the two.
Yeah, we'll see. I had the fortune of playing with Fire Mana this past split on my Vanquisher team as well. So Fire Mana stepping up into the M100 Cap League to take some swings at those mid laners this past split as well. If there's anything that I remember, at least from I believe it was the very first week meta that at least we were on cast for Syndicate here. I do believe I remember seeing a lot of Catalyst plays out of Izzo, as well as like Reds being a very I think it was MF play that was very strong, a really good showing at a Res Noxus 7 in the ADC role, and was definitely a key component of this team. However, obviously these are both like playoff teams, so I'm looking forward to a lot of heavy hitters here.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking the first seed versus the fourth seed. No upsets in quarterfinals, and they're both here and they're ready to go. It is Syndicate Like a Dragon, who is the first seed, the favorite to win it all. But these teams haven't played each other, as far as I know. This is fresh. This is the first time they're running into each other.
I believe so, yeah. A seed and B seed, so different groups.
Yeah,
if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, and we haven't actually talked about draft yet, have we?
Who talks about draft?
Who talks about draft? I got some insider information. The only thing I really have to note about draft ban phase, rather, Lulu super strong. I think a lot of junglers in this league are comfortable on Amumu. I have insider information that both G's junglers like to play Ivern a lot, seeing it taken off the table. And Cho'Gath, I think it needs to be banned if your team doesn't have an answer for it. But what interests me, Meta, is that I'm seeing a Sivir first pick, which I feel like is something you do not see a lot. It's a questionable pick in my opinion. Maybe obviously this is just something that's super comfortable, or they're trying to hard force a composition that they want to be playing into CE here. But you know, nonetheless, it certainly does give me pause. When I look at Conspiracy's draft, I see a Jinx Jarvan pickup, two super common blindable ADC and jungle picks, right? As well as a Cassante R3, which is again, I think a very blindable top laner. It's pretty ubiquitous in the meta, as opposed to a Sivir B1 followed up by Viega, who is the female version of Viego. Viego Seraphine. I think Viego Seraphine is a little bit more flexible than the Sivir is here, but I'm curious how they finish up the draft.
Yeah, touching on your first point, a Sivir first pick, I would understand if this was a fearless draft and it's like, okay, this is a comfort pick that we just want to grab right there on B1, but it isn't. So I definitely agree. Yes. It's kind of weird. And then in the chat, I got some updates that these teams have played each other. This is going to be their third time. They actually had a cross group game, and
I forgot about that.
There's the seeding matches, which I kind of forgot about the format. So
yes,
while we were watching round of 12 and quarterfinals or whatever, they did actually play each other in the seeding matches. So
yes, this is true.
They know each other a little bit. They're acquaintances.
They are acquaintances. I'm sure maybe haven't been as intently watching each other over the season, as obviously for these not these seeding spots, excuse me, these playoff spots are competing against your own division here. But yes, thank you for pointing that out. Conspiracy Esports also cheekily noting in chat that overall CE is 03. All right, we'll see if any of that can change tonight for you in chat, Conspiracy Esports. But now we've got the draft set up. As I'm realizing, we're both like little loading wheels, which is fun tonight.
That's actually what I look like.
That is what I look like. No, I look like crap right now. So frankly, this is not really a good thing. We're tired chat. We're tired chat. Yep. But anyway, rounding out with Ornn Syndra is to me is a lot more cozy. To me, Syndicate's draft here certainly eased into more like meta stuff that we've seen. Actually, I think it's a good thing that I guess, for Conspiracy that they were able to hold on to a pick like Milio for so long. Syndicate opting to ban Braum, Tom Kench, these more like tankier, protective melee supports. Interesting a little bit, I guess, for me, seeing as Cassante was picked up R3. So typically you have the option, right, with a sort of tankier champion in the top lane, you have the option to run more enchanter supports, right, without it feeling like you're getting away with murder here. So interesting to see the tank spanned out, at least in my opinion, as opposed to some things that are more akin to Lulu. Obviously Lulu is insanely strong right now, but I think both teams' drafts here are super functional, super meta. Maybe the pick order isn't particularly meta, but there's nothing here that stands out to me meta as sort of really questionable here. It looks like these teams are fully aware of the meta now, and what is strong. So I think these are two heavy hitting rosters here, synergistically champion wise.
I think it's kind of like both teams have a lot of scaling. They both have great team fight, and one team has one clear objective is to get a reset for the Viego, and the other team's probably clear objective is to get a reset for Jinx. But at the same time, it's like, I feel like if I'm Conspiracy Esports, I'm just like, wow, we kill Viego and then we fight after, and the fight's maybe won. And that's kind of just like already just an obvious game plan when you're in those team fights. And Syndicate, they have to like kind of think about how they want to play it, right? Are they playing to kind of kite back that engage, or do they want to focus a certain target?
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, interesting to see how this plays out. Yeah, as you said, as we're getting into it here. First in our best of 5, Conqueror, Titan Esports Conqueror, semifinals match between these two teams here. Hope this is a banger. One thing notably for me, at least on the Syndicate draft here, is that the Izinator is an updated name. Very interesting. I was ready to see Izzo. It is the Izinator. I'm giving you bonus points, Izzo, for that. That's a good one. I like that. I think it's an upgrade. But in terms of Syndicate's composition here, I think this is a team that wants to play more traditional team fights. I think this team has a much easier time playing, I guess, sort of front to back, sort of a linear team fight, if that makes sense, right? Rather than thriving in chaos, which I think Conspiracy East, if a fight breaks down into not a lot of target access or not a lot of shot calling in terms of target priority, I have a feeling Conspiracy Esports has an easier time doing well in that fight, if that makes sense, just by nature of the fact that I think some of these champions can thrive in a little more chaotic situations. But both teams have access to, a lot of sort of multi-target damage in the ADC, great peel and healing and survivability enchanters in the support, 2 control mages, zone control mages in the mid lane, sort of backline accessing junglers with pretty good damage profiles, as well as like CC tanks in the top lane. Like these comps are very similar to me, right? Sort of holistically, ideologically speaking. So I'm interested to see. They obviously play a little bit differently as we've touched on here, but very interested to see who pulls it off, which team has sort of the and actually this is a cool question for you. I'm a big proponent of the idea, right, that the team with an easier to execute composition is going to have an easier time, particularly if both team comps want to be doing the same thing. In your opinion, Meta, do you see one comp that is easier to execute than the other here?
Yeah, I kind of do, and it might be a surprise to you because I think the Protect the Viego comp's actually harder to execute. I think the side of Conspiracy is easier to execute. I think having an actual engage tool that's a snap engage like J4 makes every comp easy to execute.
Sure.
Given that we know how to play Cassante, and at this point I think most people who are piloting that champion kind of understand what their role is in fights. So I don't know, I just think J4 engage it may be easier to pull off, but I could be wrong. I mean, Seraphine and Ornn engages are actually like not hard, but they are skill shots.
Yes, they are technically skill shots, and Ornn can be interrupted by any form of CC here. But yeah, I think I might have to agree with you. I think less has to go. I think there's less that can go wrong for Conspiracy here in fights and around objectives, right? I think they have the ability to play with a little bit more sloppy play here. You're calling it a sort of protect the Viego comp, which I think for parts of the game it will be. I do think there is a point in the game in which it sort of becomes a protect the Sivir comp and let Viego get resets. You know,
sure. Yeah.
But again, these are both reset comps. I believe that's already been mentioned in the chat. Both sort of scaling reset comps. But again, I think there are more ways for a fight to be harder to play out for Syndicate here, as we're not actually seeing a lot of action here on the commentary of scaling sort of reset comps, which sort of makes sense. We're seeing some trades, obviously, in lanes here, but oh, we might be getting something now.
Yeah, Scatter of the Week, and then the flash done by the Izinator. Could this be first blood? But here it is with the counter gank Lucid. Feels gonna flash forward, looking for the kill on Fireman, and one more auto. Feels gonna get first blood, but this is a flashless Victor. He's gonna get stunned up by the Izinator, and there's the Avenge kill, and a nice roam from Mojo. Can they take down the J4? No, Lucid will be able to flag and drag out. With all of that, I mean, this was going to be a double scuttle, but it ends up just being a 1-for-1.
It does end up being a 1-for-1. I think, it's sort of understandable tracking as we're getting a little bit more here. The TP is going to come in from the Victor, drop some damage on Mojo, who is out of mana. But, I think it's understandable that both junglers want to be pathing towards the immobile control mages, right? Whoever can get the mid lane advantage in this game, I think is going to be set up for success. Bot lane is a snoozer and a half. Like, no way, no other way around it, right? It's hyper scaling, AoE damage, boring as hell, ADCs with boring as hell enchanter supports, right? Not saying I don't like.
I would argue top lane is also a bit of a snoozer.
Exactly my point. The follow-up would be that top lane's a bit of a snoozer. It's like wet noodle tank fight. Like, oh, who's gonna real skillful over here? And this is not me crapping on the lanes or the players or the choices here. I think these are both excellent comps. Just by nature of the way the draft plays out, these are two snoozer lanes. I think mid lane is a huge focus this game, right? The mid laner that has priority in this game, that team is going to have so much of an easier time walking into objectives, setting up plays on the map, having tempo advantages, and having the map pressure and lane pressure to make roam plays, to make movements towards objectives, right? I think the center of the universe this game is certainly the Syndra Victor matchup. So obviously, I think it's understandable, right, that both junglers are going to be pathing here with sort of similar clears. Typically, the jungler with counter gank has the advantage play, and we see that happen with Jarvan. Oh,
Red's Noxus getting exhausted and ran down. Has barrier and flash. Gonna use the barrier and get out just barely.
Yeah,
barrierly.
Barrierly is going to survive. Yeah. Definitely it scared me there. Good discipline, I guess, on holding the barrier and the flash to see which one's needed. There is no like ultimates or crazy jinx damage yet, such that that's a little bit of a greedy play to be holding onto that there. But notably, I should say, an important summoner spell off of the ADC for the side of Syndicate here, as we're going to see Viego start up the dragon. Feels confident and comfortable. Interestingly enough, even though his lane, both lanes don't necessarily have priority, is confident enough in the understanding that Jarvan back there that is going to allow Izzo to start this up and probably just take this for free. But yeah, I think that with the understanding that both junglers are going to be focusing towards mid, both mids need to be ready for this as well as both junglers, right? Jungle tracking is so important. Like, yeah, Lucid is going to understand that Viego just did a dragon, has the ability and, the prio, at least in the top lane and a little bit more so in the mid lane to start these up. You got to know that if your Fields, and it looks like Fields from the minimap is responding properly to it, may have to cede a little bit of priority in this lane, but we do have Cassante moving over to the Grubs, which is, the correct play here. Protect the ability to secure the objective, and it is. Just played well, I think, from both teams and both junglers here, but
we might have a solo kill. It is going to be the Arcane Storm, and I think the stun was
catch that one.
Grabbed. Yeah, I mean, Fields just gets I guess Scatter of the Week was down, right?
Feels bad.
Yeah, it does feel it feels bad for Fire Mana, and it feels bad for me who just didn't cast that one. But with that kill too, the invade and the stolen blue buff, Lucid says, "I'm just gonna take this. It's mine."
Really good tempo play there. I'm a big fan. Is up fighting in the bot lane. Cyril.
Yeah. Encore comes out from Mojo, sets up the kill for Red Noxus. Sivir Ricochet is doing damage. There's a return kill that I think Hayasaka, is that how you say that? Hayasaka picked up.
Looks like it. Yeah, Hayasaka picked it up.
Yeah, Emilio gets a kill in return, but that's definitely not worth the jinx. and a little bit of a CS catch up there for the Sivir. I wanted to point out, because I even see it in chat about the CS differentials. They are very in favor of Conspiracy Esports. There's a large CS lead in almost every lane.
Yeah, we're looking at 1K gold meta.
Yeah, and from farm alone, that is crazy.
Yeah, from farm alone, a little bit from the first blood kill, as Fields was able to get that flash play on Fire Mana, who was a little bit sort of just out of position after that counter gank. You know, notably Viego picking up the return kill, but obviously not quite as valuable as the first blood here. But Fields is now working with like a over 20 CS advantage at 9 minutes into the game, which is notable to say the least. This is not a very good spot for Fire Mana to be in here on this Syndra. Especially into, you know, these are both champions that scale very well and do very well in the late game. You know, the Syndra obviously is going to have time to get much stronger, but the Viego, or not the Viego, excuse me, the Victor is going to get stronger, noticeably stronger too as the game goes on. We're getting an all out.
We're going all out, and we're also calling the Forge God who wins this one. A nice buffer there, going unstoppable, and a flash to secure that final hit. Gunman takes down, I don't know the name, CZ in the top lane.
Yes.
We're gonna go with CZ for now.
Yeah, and a return kill on Hayasaka, who a gank play was made on the bot side. Hayasaka seemingly out of position, as we only really catch the end of that. Izzo's going to smite up that scuttle, secure it. We do have Jarvan on this side, who's probably going to be looking to protect from any sort of dive play here, is just trying to scout around for vision. You do have that Demacian standard to check for vision. Good job, Lucen. You understood what to do there.
I love to see it.
Love to see it. Nothing feels bad than feels more bad than a Jarvan not using the Demacian standard E ability to just check some brushes, right? It's like if a Zyra doesn't use plants to check a bush from like 10 light years away. It's like, what are we really doing? But yeah, a little bit of a disrespectful ultimate there out of CZ in the top lane on the Ornn. Just disrespects the all-out damage out of Gunman's Cassante a little bit too much there, and ends up biting the dust for it. This is the point in the game meta, by the way, where, you know, we're starting to see CS advantages creep up in favor of Conspiracy Esports, right? And it's the point in the game where when you're two scaling teams, you're going to start to see which team is really, you know, driving the van here. And to me, it looks like it's Conspiracy and relatively comfortably, right? I think typically at this game, you'd see it a lot closer of a gold lead and a lot more boring of a game. It's great to see that both junglers who are playing sort of Catalyst junglers are making things happen on the map. But, you know, for the team, I think Syndicate, you're playing a little bit on the back foot now, off of the back of, I think, just catching a little bit of a disadvantage on some of these. But, yeah, this Victor is allowed to just walk up here, which is almost insane.
It's a ton of damage on Izzo, and then Lucid's able to just go in for free on Fire Mana, and there's not really a way Syndicate can contest this second set of grubs. So it could be 6 grubbies going over to Conspiracy. I almost said Conduit again. Conspiracy Esports. And yeah, when we're looking at like the CS numbers, you're like, oh wow, this is really favorable for Conspiracy. If we were just looking at kills, I would feel so confident if I was Syndicate, right? We have a 2-0 Viego and a 1-0 Sivir. That's like all we care about. Sure, Syndra's a little behind, Ornn might be a little behind. They're gonna scale, it doesn't matter. But our two carries are killing it. They're kicking. But yeah, I mean, when you look at the CS numbers, I would not be as confident as the Jinx Rocket almost steals that dragon, but it will be secured. 2-0 dragons to 6-0 grubs. Yeah, 2-0 grubs, 6-0 grubs. I don't know.
However we want to call it.
Yeah.
I think either or is fine. I'm gonna be honest. I think I prefer being the 6-0 grub team here, particularly into two scaling teams with a Jinx. Yeah. We'll see how that plays out, right? Like, if Conspiracy Esports is feeling cozy and comfortable in the fact that, right, okay, we're both playing scaling teams, but we're scaling faster right now, right? You always, if you're playing two scaling comps like this, the team that is scaling faster is going to inevitably feel confident and comfortable for most of the game until we have a sort of flip in which team is sort of driving, you know, tempo and decisions around the map. And for the time being, to me, that is Conspiracy Esports here. I'm okay with going down 2 Drakes for none. You can always still get Soul coming back from 2 Drakes, right? I think it's a perfectly valid strategy to be picking up dragons on the back end as you move into the mid game. Obviously, it feels good if you are Syndicate to be picking those up, right? You can't be losing those and not knowing how to cross map when you are the team that is a little bit behind in gold. So good on them to actually understand that and pick that up. But yeah, we're seeing these CS in the solo lane specifically. These CS advantages actually really start to grow. We're getting close to approaching a 30 CS difference on the Cassante as well as on the Victor. If you look at Victor items, right, we have Luden's Tempest on Syndra, and then just like your basic starter items, right? As opposed to a Blackfire Torch and a Faded Ashes. Almost said something else on stream without an H.
I got one of those.
Yeah, on top of just being a level up, like, it's a little bit of an unfortunate spot for Fire Mana to be in. Feels a little bad. I think Fire Mana understands this and is now playing a lot more respectfully in lane, which I think is absolutely the right move. But yeah, we're definitely gonna try and see as we move into these like mid-game skirmishes, maybe some more objective fights as those timers do come up. We got 3 minutes on the next dragon. Gonna look to see how Fire Mana is gonna play around these fights, because is gonna have to find some interesting angles to actually pick up the Scatter the Weak Stuns and pick up any kills. And you know, at this point in the game, you really want to start getting more influx of gold onto this Syndra before I think this Victor runs away with the game. I think Sivir is in a fine enough spot into the Jinx, sort of like power level wise, right? I honestly think you prefer to be the Sivir right now with the Essence Reaver Berserker Greaves over just like a Yuntal Wild Arrow, which I believe has to scale with how that item now works, right?
We see a TP. What was that? Was that a TP? I don't know. We have a good play here. Scatter the Weak into the stun. Isonator finds a great pick from the bush. Here comes the Encore, and Fields goes down, and that's a shutdown. Or at least a shutdown, because his Victor was something. Shutdown in my mind, and they're going to chase Lucid through the jungle, and Isonator's going to get that blue buff back.
Yeah, great sort of call there and snap trigger pull from Syndicate. Pull themselves up by the boots and get a little bit out of this, which seemed like it wasn't going to be any sort of play here. But
another stun combo, Scatter the Weak into the Viego stun, and over the wall with the Flag and Drag. Isonator is popping off a double kill as they take down a typical name as well, leaving Hayasaka the last man standing here under the turret for all this bot lane skirmishing. 5-0.
Yeah, really, really well played around the resets there. Just a really good understanding of what this comp wants to do at this point in the game. Glad to see there's some life in Syndicate and they're pulling the trigger as now they're the ones, like I said before, until they are in the driver's seat, they're playing from the back foot, and I think that's a huge tempo swing. A 5-0 Viego is not something to be trifled with in the slightest. We're gonna call the Forge God.
Yeah, this time it was not unstoppable buffered, but Gunman might have the damage to finish off CZ. As both top laners here.
All Out, notably. Yeah. I think that's a different fight if All Out is up.
They both have flash, so I think this Ornn here is just gonna take that recall. We're not gonna see much else.
Yep. But, on the bot play again for Syndicate, being able to catch 2 with 4, to me immediately was a really good play. It was almost unfortunate that they didn't get the Jarvan immediately, but really, really good job by them to stick around and wait for Conspiracy Esports to make a mistake. And frankly, Conspiracy Esports did make a huge mistake. I don't think you can be playing anywhere near that wall with a Seraphine, Syndra, and a Viego ultimate reset. So a little bit disrespectful, I think, by Lucid to be playing that close as we might see.
Oh my god, we see the same plays. Deja vu. Isonator with a Spectral Maul stun. We'll find another kill. The 6th kill for this Viego. I mean, this Victor, right? This Victor jungle.
this Victor jungle, correct, who is now Viego. Psych.
Got him.
And just Nico stuff with my resident Nico gamer here. I'm going to be on a super disrespectful back location from Fields. Yeah, I think without vision of that bush and knowing that this Viego has tempo and advantage over the map, really, really interesting spot to back. Like, there's so many other places you can take a recall without dying there. They're going to lose the dragon for it and actually put Syndicate on soul point, right? This is the last thing you want if you're Conspiracy Esports. The way back into this game, as we were sort of talking about, was for Syndicate to wait for Conspiracy to sort of make a mistake and pull a trigger on a really good play. And they did that in the bot half of the map. And the Conspiracy Esports proceeded, I think, to make a little bit of positional and sort of, macro error in protecting the dive, which leads to more kills. And they know that they should really slow it down, right? And play for this dragon. They have to slow down a soul point. Soul point, particularly in Ocean Soul, notably here, is a disgusting soul for this team. Seraphine, Sivir, Viego, Ornn. That could be a that's all she wrote soul on this game. So some critical errors coming out of Conspiracy here, in my opinion, that really lead to them going from comfortably in the lead to comfortably behind, as Feels is going to get wrecked.
Not again.
Again, yeah, we're just playing behind tempo at this point.
Yeah, the Izzinator is on Feels this game, definitely shutting down the Victor. And here, going for more, as Lucid's going to get caught by the Encore on their Gromp. And the Izzinator will pick up another one. I don't know if this is disrespect or what, but the Izzinator just kind of running around the map killing anyone who shows up.
Yeah, it's certainly the absolute right way to play the Viego and the right way to play the Seraphine, right? Like, Viego, obviously, a Viego this strong can find picks and do it, but Viego doesn't have, like, guaranteed lockdown outside of that W, that's Spectral Maul, I believe it's called. So really good playing around the clear carry position of this game out of Mojo's Seraphine. But yeah, I also think, like, definite disrespect, right? Like, this Viego, you have to understand what this comp can do, right? There is a lot of lockdown and then a lot of damage as the game goes on, but also just right now out of this Viego. That's a huge Viego. A little bit of disrespect to be playing that far up without that much vision, understandably, right? That's sort of the side laning with your TP is what you have to be doing on the Victor. However, part of it's like your team has to be able to pull priority and pull agency elsewhere on the map if you're going to be playing that far up, right? So it's just as much on Feels, in my opinion, for the positioning sort of misplay there, as it is on the team to not be creating space for Feels to do their job on the Victor, right? The only play available there on the map was bot lane, and nothing was necessarily done elsewhere to stop it. And then, you know, I think maybe a little bit of greed to try and secure that Gromp without any vision or knowledge of Syndicate's vision out of Lucid's Jarvan, and is punished for it. But yeah, we're now, I think, comfortably on the back foot if we're Conspiracy Esports here. We're 3K gold down. We're one away from Soul Point. However, there are definitely still avenues into this game. I don't want to paint this like this is an absolutely doomed picture for Conspiracy Esports. Remember, we picked up 6 grubs, which at the time, and I will still, you know, die on this hill, is a super comfortable thing for Conspiracy to have. Any fight, and like we said at the beginning of the game, any fight that favors chaos is going to favor Conspiracy Esports, even from the back foot. And when you have 6 grubs and a Jinx with resets, you can absolutely shred through towers, right? So there are still avenues into this game. It's on Conspiracy Esports to recognize what those avenues are and really play to stop bleeding and do not give up any more before it is too late here, right? And I think giving up camps might be
we
necessary.
Have a play. Gunman going all out on Fireman, who has flash, and here's a 2-man Heartbreaker, and Izzinator getting a reset, blocked off by the Cataclysm right now, but Lucid is running away as Gunman has already gone down, and flashing forward, the Izzinator will pick up 2. It's a double, and looking for more. A 2-man Flag and Drag knockup with the reset. It will be cleansed, and they will all get out of there. I forget what Melio ult is called.
Breath of Life.
Breath of Life, yeah. Cleansed of life. And they will look for the Otacon, yeah.
Yep, yeah. Two members of Conspiracy were cleansed of their life there. Interesting all out from Gunman there on the Cassante. I hesitate to say that was the move. I think we understand, right, that we had seen at least 2 of them. I'm not sure if they had vision of the 3rd member of Syndicate there. Even repositionally, like this, they still have so much movement and ability to absolutely turn a fight and drop damage there. And we're a Cassante that is only sort of 1-0 in this game. To me, it seems like a bit of a mistake to hard force that ultimate there. They end up paying for it. I'm not sure if they got a turnaround kill. I at the time, I don't think they did.
No.
I could be wrong, but
no, they almost had, I think, Fireman who
very low on the Jarvan ult. Yeah. So I think just a little again, like I like the looks and the ability to try to do stuff, as we might get a little bit of a wet noodle fight. Oh, it's easy flashing.
Yeah, I'm not sure about this one. Ornn has the counterplay to get out. The flash probably wasn't necessary. Yeah, I don't know if you knew that, but
I forgot. Yeah, I forgot that Cataclysm is terrain that breaks from Ornn. Searing Charge. But that is actually, as we're laughing about that, that is a completely uncontested, just free-handed over Dragon Soul.
CZ is just getting absolutely bonked on and just survives, and it wouldn't even matter. Call the Fort God coming out to maybe get the kill on Feels as well.
Man.
Gets him down super low, stops the recalls, and the rest of the team is just pushing into the base and getting a pick maybe. Nope.
It's Gunman. It is the tank. I'm gonna be honest with you, Meta. I don't want to be a doomer. I don't want to be a doomer in the chat, but to me, that is the sequence of plays that spells Conspiracy feeling like they want to just go GG next on this one. To not have the wherewithal about where Dragon is, and to go for a topside play on a tank, to play for the Victor side laning, seems like a tilt play to me. There is nothing correct about it. It basically hands like the most powerful thing that Syndicate is looking for this game, which is that Ocean Soul, and just guaranteeing it for free. It's a really interesting play. So I'm not sure what's going through the minds here of Conspiracy. I hope it's not tilt play, but we might have a Viego stun. We don't have Viego stun? Yes, we do.
We do have a Viego stun and an encore to follow, as Isinator tanks all the damage up front, but still going, still kicking, gets a reset, and continues to go in. Again, another reset with a two-man flag and drag knockup, and they begin to run them all down under Terra. Red Noxus putting in a lot of damage, but it's always going to be the Viego getting the kills. The Isinator with a triple, 13-0. What a banger of a game for Izzo.
If they want, what are the death timers? Probably not GG, but definitely an inhib. Yeah, I mean, that's what I mean about Ocean Soul. Like, there is nothing, I think, at this point that Conspiracy can do in any of these fights. It is a Seraphine 13-0 Viego with an Ocean Soul. You will, I don't think that, like, unless Syndicate decides to completely stop playing the game for 5 minutes, I don't think there's ever a point at which they have the damage to out-heal any of that. Like, I just don't know if it's mathematically possible at this point in the game. Which it feels really bad for Conspiracy Esports. It feels like this game is sort of a ticking time bomb. You know, waiting for them to sort of fizzle out here. Some serious mistakes I think have to happen for the side of Syndicate. Some serious like macro misplays, additional misplays. For this Jinx to actually be able to get into the fight. This is a Jinx with nothing to her name but a single assist, right? And notably, this is a Victor that was comfortably up on Fire Mana, right? Like, Feels had comfortably one lane into Fire Mana here, and is now 2-5, and has Leandries and Blackfire Torch, which, you know, into a healing comp, isn't going to do much, right? So, yeah, I really don't know what the avenues are here. I'm trying to find ways to justify or to see where the hope is, but I'm having a hard time, Meta.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, it's a little bit doomed. I honestly, like, if they would have played to just even sack Soul and, like, go for, I guess, what we're coming up on, like, a 28-minute Elder flip, I would have been okay with that. But the way, like you said, like, the way they played it, like, they gave Soul and got nothing. They honestly, like, lost on the top play, and I don't even know what the rest of the teammates were doing. Conspiracy just kind of fell apart is when Syndicate found that, I want to call creative play, when Isinator's just sitting in the bush and they have the 4-man collapse on 2, it just flipped the game completely upside down. And yeah, I mean, Syndicate really snowballed off that, while Conspiracy kind of just, I don't know, they fell apart off one play.
Yeah, which is not something you necessarily want to see in the first game of the series, but obviously there are more games in this series. This is, whatever happens at the end of this one, it is not all she wrote for either team. We still have a lot of League of Legends to play tonight. However, you know, as we're seeing, it's a
three-man scatter the week into a 4-man encore into the Call of Forge God,
GG.
And it is gonna be GG.
That's so GG. Yeah, I mean, you can't, at that point, and I don't blame them for attempting. You can't even hold that turret, right? I don't think you can be anywhere near it. As he feels go down. Yeah, this was just this was a game of one positional misplay, and then what I can only describe as having to be some sort of communicational just collapse, I think, for the side of Conspiracy Esports.
I don't think the Viego comp worked.
Yes, it worked. And again, right, like that's a comp that if they have the lead there, they can do it. And frankly, it was in my opinion, entirely off the back of two people, and that is the Izzonator, Izzo, Hero de Diego, obviously, as well as Mojo.
Yeah,
you know,
I agree.
and no disrespect to the other three members of the team. I think CZ, Firemana, and Reds, which is funny because we were talking so much about Firemana and Reds in pregame, sort of in draft. I think they could have turned their monitor off and won that game. Yeah, just sort of unbelievable. I think tempo play from those two, the jungle and support duo. That it was entirely unanswered by the side of Conspiracy, and frankly answered with, I think, plays that you would have to actively try to make. I'm trying to say this without making it sound like I'm crapping on Syndicate. There was a lot that went well there for Syndicate, but you know, almost as if it was tilt play, right? Less so. Yeah. A lack of an understanding of what to do, and more so caught off guard and I think emotionally affected by a sort of play like that, which you can't have happen in playoffs that early off of one play. The game was by no means lost with that one play, at least the initial pick, right?
Yeah, no, I agree.
Onto the two of them, a 4v2 play. It was just an excellent play by Syndicate. Conspiracy was comfortably ahead far earlier than either of these two scaling comps should have been. If you were Conspiracy Esports, you got to remember that, right? Like, you were winning, and well before I think it's reasonable for a scaling comp to be winning. I think a lot went wrong for Firemana in the mid lane there far earlier than it needed to. So if you're Conspiracy moving into the next game in this series, I think you're banning the Viego. That's the first thing we're doing.
For sure.
And I think we got to pick ourselves up by the bootstraps. When we die in League of Legends, we cannot sort of lose our ability to make decisions properly. And I think they got to lean into what works, and that is the mid lane. I think Fields played that game better than, at least for the early game, better than Firemana did, and then Firemana played that game better from the back foot, right? Much more respect out of Firemana there, which is what you need to see out of a Syndicate that's playing from behind, and a lack of respect there from Fields. So I think they got to just tune up how they apply their pressure, keep applying said pressure, but they need to tune up sort of giving too much room for stuff like a Viego to come back into the game. And if you're Syndicate in this game, Izzo, give him Kindred, give him whatever. You know, right? I think that's
the other Viego
in this game.
Who's the other Viego? Belveth. I don't know.
Belveth, right? Notably, we are not in Fearless. So if we don't, a huge mistake by Conspiracy would be to not ban Viego, in my opinion. Unless they have something cooked up that I'm not aware of. You slam the Viego every time there. It was frankly just disgustingly played.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree with everything you said. We'll be back soon with Game 2 draft. See you guys there.
We'll be right back.
We'll be right back. We're back. Game number 2.
Guess who's back?
Guess who's back?
Back again.
Conduit Esports trying to come back from their first game loss. Conduit, not Conduit.
Conspiracy.
Conduit. So that's good news for Conspiracy because
I have a conspiracy, and the conspiracy is that Conspiracy is actually Conduit Esports in disguise.
I knew it. I knew it. That's why CE is throwing me off so much. But Conspiracy Esports trying to come back from the first game loss. Syndicate trying to go for that 3-0. I mean, trying to make it a quick night for them. They're probably feeling super confident. There's that Viego ban. But
thank the Lord. Viego ban.
What's going well for Conspiracy, and probably the only thing I have to say is they were killing it in all of their lanes. They had some invade plays. Fields was up, feeling good on the Victor. And I mean, if they're able to replicate that and then use it, put it into form, I mean, I think we can see them definitely snowball and take over a game.
Yeah, I mean, the beginning sort of phases of the game, last game, were a recipe for success for the side of Conspiracy. We frankly, just to be perfectly candid and blunt about it, we shouldn't see those lanes that ahead that early. To me, that speaks volumes to the laning prowess of Conspiracy Esports. I think these guys, at least from what I saw game 1, are significantly better laners, right? At least that seemed abundantly clear to me. However, for Syndicate, significantly better macro game decision makers. And I think ultimately what ended up happening is you see the power of the two, and at what points in the game they happen and to what extremes, what sort of plays out, right? But we did see a significant sort of decline. It was almost like macro amnesia for the side of Conspiracy as the game slowly fell apart out from under them off the back of seemingly just a play, an extended play in the mid jungle, or mid river I should say, into the bot lane. But enough about last game. Last game is behind us. We are moving on to a new game. These are two fresh teams here coming off a little bit of a break. Anything to say about draft? We see the Zach go through for that was a conduit for Conspiracy.
Yeah,
I'm a mess.
It's probably Zach Jungle for Lucid, and it is immediately countered, I guess, double countered by a J4 and a Gwen pickup. I assume it's going to be J4 Jungle, Gwen top, and picking that Tom Kench into Gwen, also kind of a question mark on my head.
Kind of question mark. True.
Yeah, I mean, Gwen's
it might be TK support.
Yeah, it's going to be TK support, I would assume, but it's just like, that's a lot of free frontline damage that Gwen's like able to max like output there. I mean, she's just gonna heal a lot and do a lot to the Zac and Tom Kench. And the only other thing is Red's Noxus on the Twitch. I actually was looking at his account earlier. Is a Twitch highest mastery.
So yeah, Syndicate. Yeah. I think getting the upper hand here in terms of picks. Yeah, it's an interesting thing to see the Tom Kench on top of the Zac. Like, it's a lot of like low AP tank or low damage AP tank stuff. Sorry, I couldn't hide that one. I literally said like low damage AP tank. Not to say Mordekaiser's always low damage, but at least if he's behind, he is.
Why are you picking Mordekaiser into Gwen? You don't have an answer to that one, do you?
No, I do. We're playing devil's advocate here, and I do. And the answer is Gunman. I think was the significantly better laner last game. I think Gunman, this is a confidence pick. I think Gunman is going to look to take that advantage with a Mordekaiser ultimate and just, hey, are you ahead, Isinator? I'm just going to yoink you.
Look at the...
What'd I miss?
It's Gunman on Zac top. Into Gwen, and that's why they picked Mordekaiser. Wait, hold on. All right, hold on. Conspiracy Esports is countered in every single lane right now, and I don't know. I swear, chat, Titan chat, Conqueror League. Am I wrong, or are they countered in every single lane? And my eyes are they better have the best early game of their entire lives. I'm not sure.
There's got to be something here that we're missing, Meta. I like to believe you and I we're two relatively talented players. We're two relatively talented, I think, minds in terms of. That's why we're here on the desk, right? But there's something we're missing.
We're missing something.
My initial fears, right, are exactly sort of as you said. I think we have an overwhelming surplus of AP damage and just let a Galio get picked.
There's J4 and Galio. I throw that one in there.
we have 5 losing matchups. But there's something we're missing.
We will find out what we're missing. We'll find out real quick as we go in. Conspiracy Esports down 0-1 in this best of 5. Can they bring it to a 1?
Apparently, no. Broadcast does not have the lane song.
Oh, okay. We do have a lane song. Yeah, Fire Mana on the Gwen mid. Oh, that helps.
Oh, I should have known that. Fire Mana is like, yeah, Gwen mid. Let's play it all the time. Okay, listen. All I'm gonna say is, like, okay, I will not change what I say about Conspiracy's draft here. I think I like this play though. I think some judgmental maybe missteps may have happened for Conspiracy's draft here.
Go top. It's so much better.
But listen, I don't care if you like to play Gwen mid. There is like you just shot yourself in the foot so big here. Like Galio is still fine into Zac, but just because actually that's not even true. I think Zac might be able to win this.
Galio I just destroys Orianna too. Like you can't believe they're doing this.
Also shout out to MXN Sugar Bun in the Twitch chat. Oh dang, Swifty is casting. I'm a big fan. Sorry, I just had to stroke my own ego here. Thank you for being a big fan.
I mean, this is
Thank you for being a big fan. I think that's my buddy MX Tato. How are you doing, friend? I'm a big fan of yours as well. But anyway, back to the game at hand. Yeah, why the heck? Yeah, I think it's really disrespectful to be sending the Gwen mid here. There's just no point, and I know for a fact because we put Fire Mana on it that Fire Mana can play the Galio. I know that Gwen is a very, very liked pick for Fire Mana. I think very comfortable on it and likes to run it a lot. However, I do think
gank.
Oh no, flash.
Immediately getting the flash from Feels.
Feels bad, man. I'm gonna be saying that a lot. Good respect play though. You got to run the flash. It is what it is, right? That's a one camp gank. We are trading the jungler's tempo for your flash. It is what it is. Those plays just sort of happen when you're playing in Orianna, but I think very respectfully played. I like Lucid's idea here to go for the invade, understanding that only red buff was taken, right? You actually do give those single camp ganks, you give the enemy jungler a lot of information, right? So I think Izzo knows this, though, is responding or is looking back on mid lane here. We might see in a second, but...
Yeah, flashless Feels, but... Jungle counter gank available. Oh, dodges the flag and drag. Lucian's here. Level 3 flashing forward. Not sure if the damage is quite here. Fire Mana going down low. And here's Mojo with the roam up again, deciding the game so early with the support roam. This time, maybe not too much.
Uh-oh, Mojo.
Hayasaka's tears
There we go.
Hey, the flash from Mojo. And it's just going to be a trade of some summoner spells.
I like Hayasaka getting in on the action here. I think was sort of really, really outperformed by Hayasaka in game 1 in terms of the roam plays and the presence around the map. Oh, man.
Oh, Feels might be committing to the all-in. Hayasaka's coming back, and Mojo is nowhere to be found. And is it the Tom Kench diff? One more auto and Feels will stay alive, just barely coming out on top.
Okay, we've got, if I'm not mistaken, I think 2 center Qs were whiffed there. Oh man, Gunman. There's a lot to talk about this. There's like 5 things I need to say.
Wait, actually, he's not fine.
No,
Galio Q and auto? Oh, it's not up. He's fine. Oh, now he's dead.
No, Gunman.
No mana. Mana for the Q.
Gunman.
CZ gonna run down the flash taunt. Instead, it's guaranteed. And Gunman
totally disrespectful. What are we doing, right?
I don't know.
Sorry, Gunman. I don't mean to flame you there, but I think you got to be a little bit more respectful there with that one. But if I'm not mistaken, I think Fire Mana missed the true damage on the Q both times.
Don't call him out. Why you gotta be so mean to him?
No, I think part of it is really good positional play on Feels. I think Feels' movement there was relatively spectacular. But I think, I was saying actually before the sequence of events happened, I know that Fire Mana is comfortable and can play this Gwen. I think Fire Mana's Galio, to me, has a higher impact on the game. I've seen it firsthand. I've played with Fire Mana.
Yep.
So yeah, maybe the sort of ego pick in swapping the mid and top from where they ultimately should be compositionally on this team might be biting him in the butt a little bit. However, still anyone's game. Conspiracy Esports is very close in goal this week. Got to fight here.
Yeah, Zinator with another successful gank, getting that flash from Hayasaka, and yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's just kind of the Izzo show. We're just gonna keep seeing Izzo perform these plays, and it's always gonna be a success. I think I have yet to see a Viego or J4 play from Izzo that has been a failure. They're always working. There's always something being gathered.
I'll challenge you on that.
Plays. No,
don't. I'll challenge you on that. Every single, actually not every single. I'm challenging myself on that as well. I think that last play was a huge misplay. I think you have a free kill as your Mordekaiser level 2 is taking Raptors on the Orianna. And I think they just missed 2 abilities. I think it was really good movement by Fields to sort of deke them out. But
oh yeah, that one did miss.
That one was, I think,
that one might have missed.
little bit of a misplay. But getting the flashes in every other gank is obviously worth it, even if you don't get the kill. Great job by Jarvan there. That's part of the prowess and the ability of the Jarvan is to do stuff like that. Just hard force a gank in a lane and burn sums, right? But I do think that mid lane play was certainly in favor of Conspiracy, but we might be getting it again.
Yeah, Fields does have Shockwave. Oh my god, it does so much damage! And Izzo's on the run. Fields doesn't have the follow-up damage, and it might be Fire Mana picking up the kill. I think maybe Fields could have committed for the 1-for-1. I'm not sure.
Maybe. Regardless, actually, I think really impressively played, nonetheless, by Fields. I'm not enough of a mid lane aficionado myself, in all honesty, to know whether or not that is the play to go for the trade kill there. But certainly, like, the discussion of it being an angle is absolutely a thing. Yeah, almost was able to outplay that, which, you know, you like to be the Gwen getting the kill there, but, you know, definitely might put some thoughts on the back burner, you know, in the back of that brain, saying like, hey, you know, that was a good play for us that feels almost just sort of outhands us there. So, you know, curious to see if as this Orianna gains levels, if we're going to be seeing some really cool Ori plays. That was just very, very well done, in my opinion. Trying to find light out of a kill going over to the other team for Fields here on the Ori. But still, anyone's game, as I was saying before. The gold is very, very close. We do have 1 drag traded for, I believe it was 3 grubs over to the Mordekaiser. Kills are even in the mid lane. You know, a little bit of CS up for the Galio in the top lane into the Zac. But yeah, interestingly enough, I have a feeling, and I'm sorry to take it back to this. I have a feeling if we had just sent the Gwen top, like, this is unplayable for the Zac at the, like, we're approaching 8 minutes. Like, this is the point where it's like, all right, Zac doesn't play. I also think this is the point where it's like, all right, Ori doesn't play. And now we're finding openings and seeing an even game, and actually Conspiracy ahead, even in objectives, and ahead on gold. Got to make you wonder, out of what seemed like a completely, I'm gonna say it now at this point, a completely unsalvageable draft. From the side of Conspiracy Esports. Just to put it bluntly, yeah, when we're now seeing openings here, Izzo's doing it again in the mid lane. There's the ultimate, but has the flash.
Yeah, Izinator maybe not realizing that Fields' flash would be back up, going for the flash Cataclysm, and the Shockwave will pull Fire Mana back in. He's going to immediately use the Ghost to get on out, and Lucid will not be able to catch that fast Gwen.
It's hard to tell from the summoner icon in the top left of my screen here, but I don't think the flash was up or is up. I can't quite tell if that has a timer. My eyesight may be going. I'm getting old, kids. But yeah, if flash is up, Lizzo, or not Lizzo, Lucid, right? Should flash R that every day of the week. I think that's a dead Gwen.
Yeah.
But I'm going to imagine it wasn't up. Because
I would say that it wasn't, because Lucid flashed slightly after Fields in the skirmishing mid, and by slightly I mean like quite a bit. So it probably wasn't up yet. It's probably pretty close though, and if it was up, I agree.
Yeah, if it was up, it's a free kill. So a little bit too much hesitation here. Mordekaiser jungle. I'm just gonna be quite frank with you. I don't think it's ever like a pick that you really should like confidently play at the, like, this is the point of League of Legends, right, where these players are talented. Like, these are no players to be scoffed at, right? As a little bit of alley headbutt pulverized.
Yeah, we're going in, and the Mordekaiser jungle is down here. Red's Noxus going into the spray and pray, getting exhausted and flashing away, but here comes Lucid. Doesn't hold them into the realm of death, but will get the kill. Now finds themselves under turret, taking turret shots, gonna go down, and a typical name with the reset's gonna get stunned up by Mojo, and the Izinator is going to take down this Jinx, unless Hayasaka could save him. No! Typical name. We'll go down to the Mossian standard, and Mojo will keep Hayasaka here. Will Izinator be able to find the double kill? As this is gonna be long.
Maybe has to hold that abyssal dive, because of the Jarvan EQ. I'm just gonna say it, meta. What a misplay by Lucid.
Why are we not
There is no reason, but yeah, from the immediate ult, right? You can't.
Oh! As Fireman gets a solo kill on Fields, here comes the Super Mega Death Rocket.
That is so unfortunate.
For the avenge kill.
Nothing you can do about that unless you happen to not be in shop and press W at the right time. Like that is just it. That is what it is, right?
Well, lane, apparently CZ did go down to the Zac.
CZ did go down. Yeah, this is what I mean. Like the Zac actually max health damage is totally playable, especially once now the Hollow is online. Like totally playable into the Galio. But I'm sorry, Lucid. I'm not going to let you get away with it that easily. You have to ult there, which again gives me pause. I don't think Mordekaiser jungle is something that should be played at this competent level of League of Legends. And listen, this is coming from a jungler. This is coming from a jungler who loves more jungle and enjoys it. It is very rare that I think it is something that I would pick that there wasn't something better to pick elsewhere, right? Like,
are you like me? I use it for a singular counter pick into Diana. That's the only time I ever pick more jungle.
And at that point, I don't even pick it. I just play like Trundle.
Oh, okay. You have a better counter.
Yeah. But okay, we're actually getting more fighting here.
Yeah, Mojo might be getting popped up by that abyssal dive, no longer a voyage, and Lucid is here. The Realm of Death available, gonna use it onto Mojo to buffer out the entrance from the Galio. And if Lucid is able to pick up this kill, he's gonna come out in the center of 5. He does not get the kill, but Hayasaka saves him with the Devour, and a lot of damage comes through as the Cataclysm into the backline. Izinator with spray and pray. Reds Nox is untouched, putting out a lot of damage. And Hayasaka and Lucid are low off the side. A typical name does not finish off Izzo. Izzo will get out, and Reds is right behind this Jinx. Luckily, the Blast Plant will keep a typical name safe, and Reds is not going to look for it. But a very well-played fight for Syndicate, and not so well-played for Conspiracy? Question mark?
Well, I actually think it was for the most part. I do think, though, that just Izzo and Reds sort of carrying the back end of that fight there. The discipline was really, really well executed. They held on to the pivotal sort of the spray and pray Cataclysm combination there to just absolutely wreck the key component, which is Jinx, and I believe it was the Orianna on the backline there. But great use, to Lucid's credit, Lucid, I anti-caster curse Lucid there because great use of the ults to buffer the Galio ultimate.
But the question comes in: Can we actually use Mordekaiser on Alistar and win a team fight? With
Alistar ultimate, right? With Unbreakable Will down, I believe absolutely. I think it's a trap to think that Mordekaiser has to be ulting like some super strong player, right? Like eliminating like a huge CC threat and key component for Peel for the Twitch in the Alistar, right, is a huge thing. A lot of the times later in the game too, like Mordekaiser jungle kind of falls off. Sometimes it's best to be ulting something like the support, or maybe like a jungler that isn't necessarily like a hard carry jungler or a scaling jungler.
Just early in the game to kind of like snowball yourself.
The issue being, if Unbreakable Will is up, if we're not tracking that, you're never killing the Alistar. You know what I mean? And I think that's ultimately where we got caught up there. But I think it was a great look for Conspiracy. I ultimately think off the back of Izzo and Reds finding the perfect time to sort of counter that play is really what changes that for them. But yeah, I'm curious to see how these fights keep playing out. That was a very close fight in my opinion. I think well played from a lot of angles there. But
the gold lead's actually still in Conspiracy's favor, and that's probably just due to the better laning phases that they've been having in these first few games. But there's a solo bolo there. Reds Noxus takes down a typical name.
Uh-oh.
Twitch.
Yeah, interestingly enough, to bring it back to the CS difference, it looks like we have a 1K CS gold in favor of the Zac up top,
Right.
which, again, shouldn't have happened. We should just see Gwen into it up top. Thank you, production. Gold elsewhere pretty even. Oh, we do have a relatively big gold advantage for the Mordekaiser, who was able to just farm a lot off of the back of just Izzo playing strictly for ganks and strictly for lane pressure. So we're getting a little bit more of a fight here, and Fire Mana.
Yeah, ultimate being used, Shockwave, and Fire Mana uses the Ghost. Skating around, has one more use of the Needlework, and here comes Izzo. What feels will flash that engage, and Lucid actually pulls Izzo into the realm of death. Can Lucid find the damage? Yeah, Izzo's gonna go down, and that's just gonna be a free kill shutdown for Fields.
Really interesting.
On the run, and here's the rotation. Gunman with a nice use of the Zac ultimate. Fireman is gonna fall. It's another kill for Lucid. And Mojo getting pulled in might be safe. A lot of stuff used there to kind of keep Mojo alive and kind of prevent that play from getting worse from Syndicate. It's very good for Conspiracy.
Very, very good for Conspiracy. It's exactly the play that you want. That's like a put them in the driver's seat sort of play. Fireman having to blow, I think off of, again, I think Fields
we have a play down here.
Oh, no.
We have Red's Noxus making this a winning play for Syndicate with the double kill, or actually it's one for each as Mojo helps out. A TP in, but Red's Noxus is feeling very, very powerful on the Twitch.
There's
gonna get a little bit more damage here, but here comes Gunman. Oh no. Doing so much damage. Gunman avenging these deaths. A reset for a typical name. Red's Noxus will fall. A shutdown being picked up for Conspiracy's AD carry.
Yeah, I think a really great look out of Reds there. That's how you play Twitch, right? You be cheeky, you be breaky, you absolutely go invisible. See what's happening, and then you murder people, right? It's why Twitch is awesome. It's why Skaven are awesome for any of my Warhammer fans out there. Yes, I play Skaven in Age of Sigmar. Don't at me. But anyway, yeah, I think that's a really good play, but good discipline to back up off the TP. I think it's a great look there, the TP. And Zac. Great job, Zac. The Zac is ahead, is able to tank up enough of that damage, right? This Twitch does not have much damage right now, right? This Twitch is relying on surprising people. Yuntal Wild Arrow on top of a Last Whisper is not going to kill this Zac at this point in the game, right? Twitch will be able to kill Zac later, but for the time being does not. So great read there to get to the play, make that happen. Yeah, as we're seeing, actually, you know, Syndicate is ahead in kills this game, but I don't think they're winning the game, interestingly enough. They are up 2 dragons, but I think gold-wise and tempo-wise, I'm feeling pretty confident on Conspiracy here.
Yeah, for sure. Things are going their way. It's looking good. These team fights are going their way. Gunman is just being a lot more impactful. Had the lead on the Cassante in game 1, but as the game fell apart, we didn't really get to see much from Gunman. And here has the lead on the Zac, and before the game would ever fall apart, Gunman's in these fights and making it a win for Conspiracy. It does come down to this Dragon. Syndicate wants to contest. Fire Mana in the back. Dragon's at 5k. Gunman in the front line. Isonator goes onto a typical name who does not have Flash, but has Barrier and the Devour to save, and the Shockwave to help heal as well. As Fireman is going down low but stays alive, and now the fight starts to turn around, and Conspiracy Esports are so low and they're on the run, but Lucid into the realm of death.
We're getting resets.
Will not get the kill, but here are the resets for a typical name going in. Sizzy has the taunts, and will they be able to shut down the Jinx? No! Typical name with the triple and looking for the Quadra, and it will be a Quadra and a trade kill as Sizzy takes them down, but
the Dragon didn't reset meta.
The Dragon is here for the taking, and Conspiracy Esports will deny that soul point for Syndicate. That was a wild fight that looked terrible, but a typical name survives and turns it around into a Quadra thanks to the ultimate from Hayasaka.
Devour absolutely coming in clutch. Great ultimate there. Basically max range through a lot of abilities and other champions standing in the way to then spit out a typical name in a perfect spot to then bide time, take a 1v1 into the whatchamacallit, what's the big cow? Alistair. Into the Alistair there, gets the resets. And the thing is, Lucid is actually like so tanky and buys so much time, right? With this the Realm of Death on top of just having Conqueror, on top of just being like nearly 1,000 gold up on the Jarvan, can buy just so much time. And on top of the Zac just being able to buy a lot of time in the front line as well, just, you know, being up 1k gold as well, is able to really, really buy a lot of space and time for the Jinx resets here. I also think that just positionally, like, I think we have the advantage here in that fight from Conspiracy Esports' mid laner, right? I think Feels is using and spacing in these fights, using ability spacing in these fights, I think just a little bit better than the Gwen is.
There was such a good shockwave to actually peel the people off of Atypical, and I'm just thinking now about how you're like, oh, it's all AP, this comp sucks, right? And I'm thinking the same thing, like, wow, we're countered everywhere, it's a lot of magic damage, but now that you have the Jinx win con already secured, this is so winnable for Conspiracy Esports, despite all of things, right? I mean, the Jinx is there. They have the Jinx and the Tom Ken.
This is winning. You know what I mean? Like, they're winning the game. But what I will say, as a caveat, and this is, you know, no disrespect to Conspiracy, they shouldn't be. This draft, I think you should never, like, I think, and I'm not saying this lost the game. Obviously, the game was still like in these lanes were certainly still playable for Syndicate. Gwen going mid, I think, opens a large door for this game to not be a free win, as we're getting a little bit of funky time in the top lane.
Yeah, Gunman getting taunted up, gonna go into that Let's Bounce. Isinator
He's so tanky though.
Is here, and they will not be able to get him. Oh, Devour's being used as Red's Noxus is gonna open up mid lane onto a typical name.
God, I really want to see, you know, great ultimate out of Hayasaka. Okay, there's the ultimate. I really want to see a flash ulti out of Orianna there. I think if your feels on this Orianna.
Okay, we missed, and this is really, really bad for Lucid. This is really, really bad for the game. Lucid is found himself behind 2 turrets, and Feels is caught out. There's no Devour to save him. And just as we talked about Conqueror Esports, we're in a winning position. We lose 3 members, no 4, as the Fed Jinx is about to get shut down. A double kill for Fireman. How could this happen? Oh, it's so sad to see what just happened on stream. Swifty, take it away.
I don't want to. I don't want to take it away.
I don't want to take it away.
That was.
Oh man.
The single
biggest throw of my whole career. No, I'm sorry.
Listen. I've done it. I did it maybe once in a Norms game when that thing first came out, and then I was like, listen, it's the jungler and who is the one who's going to have Rift Herald most often. I'm not going to let that happen in a game. As we're getting a fight here. Oh no.
The gunman. Can he do it? Gunman. Is he winning? Gunman. Firemana. Gunman. It's Lucid. We'll pick up the kill.
Here's the thing.
That was casting right there.
Had we had Gwen into the Zac the whole time, it's just no contest, right?
Yes, sir.
I think if Lucid's not there, Gwen wins that eventually, but like the fact that it was close, right? But anyway, going back to what we just witnessed.
That never happened.
You gotta know how that thing drives. Practice your Scion, and practice the Rift Herald Tokyo drifts. Because
there were so many other things wrong with that. Though.
Yeah, there were so many other things wrong with it, but that one to me is the Lucid,
that's the big one, yeah.
who is a huge driving force in these team fights here. Like there's no other way around it, right? Jinx on her own cannot carry these team fights. It needs space and time from the team, and Lucid's a huge part of that right now. You dying for free like that is just the worst thing that can happen. Being able to and they blew ultimates to get that turret. There was no Ori shockwave. Hayasaka had to peel already for a typical name using the Devour. It gave a free Jarvan knockup onto their whole team, and they just got picked apart, right? And it's off of the back of a huge space buyer and the Realm of Death ability being wasted because we missed the mid lane turret, right? Now, misplays like that happen. Like, smites get missed. Like, you miss Rift Herald. It happens, but that's one of those times where you really can't let it happen, right? Like, that's a huge one to have a little bit of a thingy slip. So if you're conspiracy, it's like, all right, no more of those. I think any more of those and the game might just be over, right? Like, you can't have an unfortunate play like that again. Here's the good news: is they are still technically up in gold. It is 2 dragons to 2 dragons. I believe that was them just picking up the second one. So they're still not out of this.
Yeah.
They have some tempo advantage, but yeah, we can't let those plays happen more than a single time, right? Otherwise, we're in a bad spot. As Gunman.
Oh, Gunman, and luckily it's Gunman face checking. Ball on Gunman. Shockwave available, but Lucid goes down really low. Gonna go into the Realm of Death against Fire Mana. Probably not the target they want. Isinator finding a 2-man knockup in the backline. Here's a Shockwave to peel, but it's not gonna stop that Cataclysm as Atypical Name does flash out, looking for a reset. Not gonna find one. Hayasaka saves, feels, but Isinator will finish him off, and Atypical Name, the only member to survive, but not a single kill picked up in that fight for Conspiracy.
Oh, just the wrong target, and I hate to hammer it home and put the nail in the coffin, Lucid, but the wrong target to be ulting. Frankly, it's anyone that isn't the Gwen. Any member of that team that is not Gwen, you press R, and you're fine. Even if it's Alistar with Unbreakable Will, as we've discussed before, the Alistar probably isn't dying, but you're taking a huge CC component out of a team that otherwise, has to rely on just like Galio taunt knockup, right? Which, if you were spacing properly as the Jinx, we're not going to hit that. And an EQ on Jarvan, which we've seen what happens when the Jarvan EQs the Jinx. We get a Devour out of and a reposition out from the Tahm Kench, right? We can't be ulting the Gwen there. I think it's a huge sort of understanding misplay, maybe an ego play, right? Understanding that, hey, I just hit 1 Q and killed Fire Mana in the bot lane. This is still a level 15 Gwen. With Riftmaker, Nashor's Tooth, has the Merc Treads, specifically to play into this heavy AP composition. We really, really, really have to be careful pressing that R button on the Gwen. Unless that Gwen is low, I do not think that is ever a good play. And the results just sort of, I think, prove us right here.
Yeah. This game's depressing. I'm sad. I don't know where we go from here. I feel like losing this one hurts a lot for Conspiracy Esports.
Hurts the most, for sure, yeah.
It does hurt the most, and it does seem unwinnable. It seems unwinnable now in my eyes. I mean, it's not unwinnable. I mean, a typical name surviving in these fights, and that's like part of the win con. But we need that reset. We need that next item on this Jinx if we're Conspiracy Esports and we want to find that win. Lucid ulting the correct target would help, but at this point it might be too late as a full engage and Cataclysm being used there to find the pick. And Feels also went down there in the bot lane. So with those 2 picks and the Baron push, Syndicate's trying to maybe end it right here. A typical name doing as much damage as possible. Devour available. Hayasuka kind of burning it early, meaning all these CC and spells are available as soon as a typical name comes out. And with 2 more picks,
that's gonna be all she wrote. I'd be surprised if it wasn't meta. Yeah. So interestingly enough, and obviously we'll let the end of this happen here.
Gunman. Nope.
Nope. That is an ace. That is a dead Zac. Interestingly enough, we see Conspiracy Esports this game have a significantly better time for significantly longer in this game meta, and should be in a winning position off of the back of 2 things: laning prowess, and to me a huge lane assignment mistake from draft out of Syndicate here. This is what it should have been. What's on your screen? This game was over in 18 minutes. If this is the draft here, is the first thing I'm just gonna say. But what ends up biting them in the butt, I think, is a lack of an understanding of how to push tempo, right? To really go for those plays, those flash ults that we talked about on the Mordekaiser, the flash ults, the flash shockwaves that we talked about on the Orianna. There were so many opportunities to really push tempo that we just didn't take, and you gotta be willing in these games, especially in playoff series, with a finals appearance on the line, you gotta be willing to show your stuff. These are talented teams, these are talented players in a competitively, impressive elo, right? You got to be able to take those risks and take those mistakes to be able to put your foot on the gas and say, I'm going to drive this game. It buys just enough time for a Syndicate who was again, behind in the early game, even more so this game for longer. It buys them time to find plays off the back of the other thing. My last point being a complete lack of discipline with ults for the side of Conspiracy Esports. Hayasaka having to burn on like a 2v2 play, having to burn Devour. Waiting for the Orianna Shockwave for the response out of Reds to just be to immediately flash it, right? I think the coordination, the lack of discipline on ultimates really bit them in the butt there. It's totally okay. Production, I like that song. Anyway, so yeah, I think, listen, the good news if you're Conspiracy, right? Your performance was significantly better. You were in the lead in that game for significantly longer.
Significantly worse.
And yes, despite what, in my opinion, is one of the more questionable drafts I think we've seen in Conqueror this season, they punished a huge mistake lane assignment wise for Syndicate very well. I think game 3 with this is the series on the line, right? You have to go 3-0 now.
Tell me you were joking the whole time that you threw on purpose and those leads in the early game are really going to show in these next 3 games.
Exactly. We got to be able to actually convert those into wins, right? If we can't, it's on to pre-game scrims for the next season. So
don't ever draft like that again, please.
And if you're Syndicate, one thing is very, very clear. You are better synergistically as a team together. At least that's been shown so far. That's what we've seen, right? Out of this team, is that come the later stages of the game, Syndicate's misplay percentage is far, far lower than Conspiracy Esports. They are a well-oiled machine come the late game. They are significantly more disciplined with their ultimates, significantly more team fight coordination, and they can play from behind, right? So if I'm Syndicate this game and we're up 2-0, and Conspiracy has to 3-0 us to move on to the finals here, prove to the team that is going to watch these VODs for next week that you don't suck in the early game, right? That you do have the ability to get those leads, right? That is something that is going to make a statement to the team, whoever faces them next week. It's on our other stream right now for people who want to do a little bit of double viewing between, I believe, Tilt Reboot Card and
Syndicate Reboot Card and
Syndicate
Dorado
Reboot Card
Gaming
and
Epsilon,
Dorado.
and they're tied 1-1 right now. But on that note, I will say right now, Syndicate Reboot Card would look like they would wipe Syndicate. So, or wait, hold on. Reboot Card looks like they would
reboot.
Reboot Card. Syndicate would wipe Syndicate. We're gonna have, if we have Syndicate finals, I would cry. But yeah, I think Reboot Card is the better looking team right now, and like a dragon, I mean, you need to kind of step it up. Like,
and listen, like I've been saying the whole time, I do not want this to sound like necessarily like a doomer thing. Obviously, all of these teams left are the best teams in the league, and these are all talented players. Every single one of these players are some of the best players at the position in this league. There's no doubt about that. But yeah, I think if you are both, they're both teams here, right? That have clear things to work on moving into the next game in this series, clear weaknesses, right? And what I want to see from both of them is shore those up, because as soon as one team shores, it's either Syndicate, it's your early game laning. If it's Conspiracy, it's your ability to push tempo and close a game. If those things get shored up, these teams are very, very frightening to go up against on the Rift. And I'm looking to see who's going to do that next game.
For sure. We'll be back shortly for game number 3. See you then. We're back. It's game 3 draft. Syndicate looking to 3-0 and go home tonight. Conspiracy Esports looking for that reverse sweep. Can they do it? Will they do it? Maybe.
Keep the dream alive. Dream on, yeah.
I like the mic peak.
It cuts out. It's funny when I sing, the mic cuts out.
Yeah.
Which is funny because I have an incredible. I'm classically trained, so my voice is incredible. But anyway, enough about me. Guys. Let's get into this draft here, man. We're seeing a lot of the same stuff. Syndicate and Conspiracy have flop sides. Conspiracy now opting to get that red side counter pick. We're seeing the Viego ban. I like that. Same stuff like the Lulu, Amumu, Aatrox, which I think Gunman's Aatrox I've seen before is very, very good in the lane phase. For someone who's already just good in the lane phase generically, one of their better champs, understandably banned. Zac being banned, I think that's a good ban. I thought the Zac was very effective last game. For sure. Interesting to see what gets picked up here.
Oh no, it's Irvin.
Had a feeling. There may have been Irvin. A little birdie in my ear in Discord. Give me a little bit of a clue as to what was going to be picked. And we're going to see Izzo on the Jarvan again. I'm not Izzo. We're going to see a Jarvan again, but for Lucid this time. So interesting to see this picked up. Just as a fun fact for our viewers, for anyone who has seen Titan After Dark this past week, there was a segment where I had to explain why I hate Ivern as a champion. I do not like this champion. I understand it is a good pick. Right now, Ivern actually kind of sucks, which is awesome. In some comps and in comp league, he's good. In solo queue, he's not that good. But I hate Ivern. I don't enjoy watching it. So thank you, Lucid, for this wonderful gift you've given me. In response, don't drive Rift Herald to your doom again.
It's gonna be it's Izzo on Ivern, right?
It's Izzo. In response,
feels on Azir. In the chat, they're like, why is this guy not playing Azir?
Thank you for being the one to not pick Ivern.
There you go.
I do like the Azir. A typical name on the Jinx is a great pick again too, by the way. I like the ability to buy space.
It would be so sad to play Jinx 3 times and go 0-3 in your playoff, but I guess it's
typical played it well every time. I'd go home being like, you know what, I did a good job on the Jinx. I think the issues team fight wise were never the Jinx. I think Hayasaka did a great job at protecting this Jinx. Typical name did a great job of just buying space and then getting resets. I think the issues were elsewhere. Tom Kench ban. Yep, I think that's a great ban from Syndicate. The only reason I think a lot of those fights ended up coming back around for Conspiracy was the Tom Kench ult, the Devour coming through. But instead, we will be getting a depth charge with some Dredge Lines out of Nautilus. I do like Nautilus too. It's kind of a pick comp. Yeah. They're playing to that sort of chaotic element that they drafted game 1 a little bit more. Was that them that drafted game 1? Yeah, they drafted. What did they draft game 1? What am I thinking?
They had Jinx Melia with J4 Engage. But...
Thank you. And we're finally getting a B5. Have we been seeing I cannot recall off the top of my head. I feel like we've been seeing a lot more early pick tops this series than you might have expected.
Again.
And there is Cassante again, Gunman, who clearly has prowess on this pick in the lane phase. What I want to see out of Gunman is to have a little bit, I think, more of a head on our shoulders with decision making in some of these skirmishes later in the game. And then I think this Cassante pick is unmatchable. But really excited to see the Renekton. I think Renekton's like the best topic in the game, just like as a blanket statement, right? Like it's just always pickable. You can pick it anywhere. It goes with every comp. It's just good. If you're good at the champ, like you're just gonna have a good time playing League of Legends. But yeah, Meadow, what do you think about the drafts here?
So I actually think the draft was super Syndicate favored when it was Ivern, Ahri, Trist, and then I think Conspiracy kind of smurfed it with their last 2 picks. Not gonna lie, I think R5 obviously gives you that advantage, but I think the Nautilus was kind of giga here. When I'm looking at like a J4 engage on Tristana Ahri, I'm like, that's not great. They can kind of get out of that one, and they have Ivern shields to kind of prevent that burst. But adding the Nautilus into it means you can set up that reset for Jinx. A lot of damage is going to be coming out from the Azir. Azir will be able to follow up on Nautilus CC, where it's a little bit harder to follow up on a Cataclysm when you have things like Ahri and Tristana. So I think the Nautilus really rounds it out. And then that last pick, Cassante, I mean, Gunman did not look bad on Cassante at all game 1. And if they're going to be in fights and able to play with the team, I think, he's going to have a good laning against the Renekton and could be a force to reckon with in the team fights. So, I said my spot.
Yeah, as we're going to get in a game here, I have to agree with you. I think that this might be the best iteration of the Protect the Jinx comp that we've seen out of them. Like last draft was also a Protect the Jinx comp. There is no question.
What? Zoom in!
Fools! We got everybody! We got you guys so good! Oh, you guys thought we didn't know what was going on, that the game was not visible. Joke's on you, viewers.
You can scroll
that was intentional. That was intentional. Thank you, broadcast, for listening to my request to totally troll the viewers for April Fool's Day on our not even on April Fool's Day version of the stream. Absolutely got him. This is how we're viewing Game 3. Strap in, folks. It's going to be a good one. Absolutely kidding. Production, can we zoom in so I can talk normally? But anyway, I have to agree with you here. The last comp was a Protect the Jinx comp. Make no question about it. However, in my opinion, it was a terrible draft. Like, it was just so poorly executed.
I can't believe you just said that.
I think there were just far too many mistakes in draft. Damage compositionally, lane matchups. Like, for a draft to go wrong that catastrophically is like a feels bad man, like a pack it up. But they played into the losing, or I guess with a losing draft so dang well last game. Hats off to them for doing so. But this time around, they're playing with what I think is a really good draft. By no means is Syndicate's draft bad. I think it's also pretty dang good. I think there's a lot of pick potential here and a lot of sort of ability to if they can find leads in this game, to push tempo and look for skirmishes, for movements around the map. I think Rel Renekton, like with an early lead, is pretty gross. Also, Red's on Tristana, the ability to just really hard force stuff. And then Ahri just works in any comp, right? Like Ahri's ability to put out damage as the game goes on top of, throw out charms and just find picks is nothing to be scoffed at. I'm curious to see, I'm seeing Ahri on Ahri, which is almost a homonym.
No, it's Ahri on Ahri. Right. No, you had it right.
I had it right. I had it right. All right, guy? No, I'm kidding. But I'm curious to see if we get, like, the tanky Ahri build.
Roa, yeah, right? Yeah.
Roa with like Riftmaker or Leandries. It's just like a lot of health items and like lifesteal. It's like way overtuned right now. Mojo's going in.
Ooh, Mojo. Maybe he's gonna take a lot of damage here for no reason, but Red Noxus is going to return. Gets the bomb off, but there's the exhaust being used. Mojo's still going forward. Nice double stun from Mojo, but flashing forward. A typical name. One more auto, doesn't have the range, but getting pulled in. Going in, Red Noxus with the outplay and the jump. Oh, but that might not be enough. Oh, but the stun lands. Oh no! Red Noxus with the double kill. So crazy, well played by the Tristana.
I was gonna say, like, what a beautiful exhaust timing to stop the bomb from absolutely smashing typical name there. But like that was seemingly like so bad for the lane that should be hard winning those early trades for Syndicate until they just completely outplayed it. Like what a series of events here. Hoping that's a tone setter for this game, that we're going to get some scrappy fights, some well-played fights from both sides, sort of, by the skin of our teeth little skirmishes. But, at the end of the day, Trist walking up 2-0 on your Jinx is not a great start for the side of Conspiracy. I'm hoping to see if they can respond here. What are you laughing at?
Just the play. My casting is terrible, but I was just in shock and awe. Jaw dropped. What happened? I was so confused. That was amazing. That was very great. And a BF sword right off the grip for Red's Noxus. But when you're up 2-0 in the like full best of 5 series, like there's no reason for them not to play like that, right? They were playing to outplay because they're confident and they got nothing to lose. They've already fell behind in the early games and still won. And here we go. This is it's gone. The Jinx is gone bye-bye. No summoner spells to escape that one. A nice gank by Izzo. Fire Mana with maybe a solo kill, but Feels trying to turn around, goes in on Fire Mana, but no, one last auto Fire Mana picks up the solo bolo, and it's a 4-0 start for Syndicate. Oh boy.
Oh boy. Remember what I said about if either of these teams can fix the thing that they stunk at last time, that this would be a stop?
Yeah, sure.
Well,
yes, I do remember.
I think one of these teams might have taken an ear to my commentary. It seems like I might have upset Syndicate in terms of saying that their early game was not very impressive, because frankly it wasn't. But we're now seeing that turned on its head here as they're up 4-0. They're up 2k gold at 5 minutes. Like, that's not fun. If you're playing a sort of scaling protect the Jinx map, Tristana into Jinx is like not going to be bueno. Oh my god, Tristana has BF sword.
Yeah, I said that earlier.
Oh,
that was off the first back as a BF sword.
Oh,
Izzo maybe getting caught out here, but Fireman is going to actually really well played to actually go in on Feels, but use the charm on Lucid to keep Izzo alive. Has one more Spirit Rush available as they're running down that J4. Goes in for the turn. Lucid does trade the kill, but it will be their life. It's a 1-for-1, and now Gunman may be caught out. CZ's going to use that stun. Mojo's here, but they don't have anything left, so it's just going to be that 1-for-1, right?
Yeah, is able to turn it into a 1-for-1. Good look by Lucid, in my opinion there. I don't think Lucid gets out of that. EQ combination is too long of a CD with just a Caulfield Warhammer at this point in the game and only level 5. And plus with that little jiggle step down sort of to throw, I think movement guessing off towards Iburn's blue camp, blue jungle side. I think sort of seals the deal. So good look to then get the EQ and turn to find a kill there. But Gunman.
Oh wow, with Mojo still top, gonna have the dismount and stun onto Gunman, who's going to all out and use that W to get on out, but not enough as CZ will finish him off with the dive.
We don't have a Super Mega Death Rocket yet, so there is no chance at seeing a cross-map R sorta save Gunman's hide there. But we are getting some fighting in the bot lane.
Yeah, as Lucid and Fields are on the Dragon, Firemana finds the rotation to find the pick, but a typical name caught the Chompers. Might be able to get the shutdown on Red's Noxus.
Get the shutdown.
One more auto. Gonna go with the zap, but it's not gonna land as Firemana almost does find a tower shot with the help. Will help to get the double kill. This game is 9-1 with a 3k plus gold lead already for Syndicate.
Oh man, that's a 3.5k gold lead at 7.5 minutes. This is approaching real bad territory. Oh no. By the way, great choppers out of a typical name. Just so unfortunate that Tristana is so far ahead that Trist is able to hold the barrier for so long that right as the killing auto comes through, the barrier does. And the zap doesn't land. We don't quite have the movement to get that last auto. I am of the opinion that every day of the week, you die for that kill. You get that shutdown on that Trist. You need a way back into this game as Jinx, and it just doesn't quite happen for Conspiracy Esports here. And now they are comfortably losing this game, unfortunately.
Yeah, like I said, after game 2, like, if you weren't already slightly tilted from game 1, game 2 is gonna just break that mental. And here we are, seemingly very unconfident Conspiracy Esports. I don't know. Like, I've been around too long. I'm so old. I've seen it all. I've played through it. My mental is destroyed here. Like, I'm just like, all right, guys. Next season,
Yep.
I'll find a different team. I'll see you guys later. Like,
We're getting a little bit of skirmish here, Meta. Oh, Gunman,
yeah,
oh no.
Dominus pop for CZ. Gunman on the run, all out onto Izzo to get an escape. Cataclysm and a lot of damage coming from Fields. When I say a lot of damage, I mean no damage at all. Rocket.
Oh, did you
Will
see
miss.
that? Oh, actually, I'll let you finish.
I mean, I don't know. What did I miss? What am I finishing? There's a flash from Fire Mana. CZ's maybe going to go on Gunman. Gunman's still kicking, still going, but that true damage from the Ahri will be enough to help CZ finish him off as Fields, again, not being able to do much damage. Emperor's Divide. Yeah.
Oh man, I'm gonna be honest. If this game isn't so heavily already in the favor of Syndicate, I think that fight goes absolutely the other way.
I think Fields kills everyone. If
Fields kills absolutely everyone significantly earlier, and many of the other players die. Gunman just smurfed that fight positioning with the ult. But my point being, Lucid put the Cataclysm right down, and then went to flash out of the Cataclysm and flashed. You ever seen a Trundle as a Trundle player? Ever seen a Trundle pin someone to a wall with the ice pillar?
Yeah.
Pinned himself with his own flash between
like the Baron wall and
the Baron
Cataclysm.
wall.
Oh my god.
Just so unfortunate. That's not one that like necessarily is super easily avoidable in the heat of battle. That one is an easy one to, I guess. It's just rare, right? Like you don't really see that a lot. Just an unfortunate sort of terrain, I guess, mishap, and it's not something you can necessarily really account for a lot when you're playing Jarvan, I guess. At least I don't. But yeah, just super unfortunate because there's an angle with which Lucid can get the flash out, right? It's a great thing to be able to just Cataclysm and just flash out. But you die if if you get pinned to the wall. So.
It's kind of crazy that stuff will happen to like J4 right in that moment, but when I feel like Kayn never has those issues, and Kayn's always going through terrain. I guess the champions that go through terrain like that, I don't know.
There's actually a reason for that, and it's because at the end of Kayn
yeah.
it forces you out of any terrain. Like the whole point of the ability is that once the timer runs out, like you're auto-forced out of terrain to a specific location.
To keep you from getting stuck, I guess. Yeah. I mean, that makes sense, and I guess that's maybe how like some of the other abilities, like maybe like the Talon Vault over the wall is like the same way. No matter what, it's forcing you somewhere out so you can't get locked. But...
Exactly. As Gunman, I think for the first time taking what seemed like a losing trade, we're seeing CZ back now off the back of this, but this is the first time CZ, hats off to Gunman, who is still up in CS. Like, Gunman is, to me, like, the more proficient early game laner in this matchup, but just hasn't been able to find, off of the back of a really behind team, has not been able to find, like, those plays, even if mechanically they're very, very impressive, right? And is now sitting 0-2 into a 3-0-1 Renekton, and that Renekton is going to join the Ahri and the Ivern to start these grubs up. Forgive me, Meta, is this the second grubs for them, or did grubs go over to?
It's at the top. It's at the top bar. It's the second. These are second. Top bar 4. It's about to be 5.
4.
5. Yep.
My brain went to.
I got you.
My brain immediately went to Rift Herald's taken for that one, and then Baron's being the one next to it. I don't. Maybe I'm just too tired. Maybe I'm too tired. But
hey man,
yes,
don't worry. It's 3 more minutes, and then.
Oh no.
Can't say that. We do have a little bit of a skirmish here in the bot lane. Mojo, Hayasaka fighting it out while the AD carries kind of just don't do much. But there's the flip.
What are we doing?
Here's the damage from Red's Noxus. Jungler on the way. Lucid, can you save? Depth charge on the Red Noxus. A redemption from downtown from Izzo. Here comes Fields. Flashed away is Mojo. Super Mega Death Rocket almost takes Mojo down, but Mojo's getting out in a rocket reset jump from Red Noxus. Oh my god, look at the shields.
Oh no!
Red Noxus with a
so
triple
poorly. I now see what Hayasaka was doing. Are we gonna see it? Yeah, we're gonna see. There's no way Typical lives here, right? Oh, there's no wave. Typical might live here, but they're gonna get Dragon for sure. I now understand why Hayasaka bought time like that. Had the had the Titans wrap up to shield the damage, and then followed it up with a depth charge to buy time for Lucid on the Jarvan to get down there for the fight. But Fields just decides to not kill the Rel. You gotta finish the kill there. The assist is gonna get the excitement for the Jinx. Like, Jinx was hitting Rel. That's then an excited Jinx in this fight. As oh.
Well, Red Noctis,
Oh!
you know, giving their shutdown over to a typical name, and maybe that'll keep this game going a little bit longer. It's something that Conspiracy gets back, and you know, it only takes a little bit of throws, a lot of throws, but it only takes a little bit for the Jinx to get going, and once the Jinx gets going, it might be unstoppable.
Yeah, listen, like, at the end of the day, if I had to put it to a percentage, what are the odds that Conspiracy Esports wins this game? And I'll shut up as soon as this turns into a real fight, which I don't think it will. The odds that Conspiracy wins this game is maybe like 15%. And I don't mean to be a doomer. I've said that word like 8 times now.
Yeah, that's pretty high. That's a high number.
Yeah, maybe I'm being generous, right? However, if there is a comp that can do it, it is a Protect the Jinx comp that can fight front to back and buy time like this one.
Solid 5% chance. 50.
Right? You're saying 5?
No, that's the chat.
Oh, that's the chat? Giving 5?
Solid 5%.
Right,
15 way too generous.
15's too generous? Listen, I mean, KC, I gotta agree with you. They kind of gotta turtle up. I mean, but if they turtle up, they just get walked over. No, like what can they do into a 6 grubs Tristana, like 4-0 Ari, a 3-0 Renekton? I think they have to be able to turtle.
That's a lot of gold bounties.
That's why this chance is so low. That's why this chance is so low for me, is because you have to play everything impeccably. But we're gonna see Gunman now attack.
Gunman, all out available. Wait. Is it? No, it's not available.
Buying time for Jarvan.
Buying time. Lucid shows up. Cataclysm on Izzo, but the Redemption's going to come down to a double heal. Gunman and Lucid pick up that kill, and here's the all-out back up. And the damage isn't there. CZ picks up the kill, but under turret, Lucid will find that shutdown. Some bounties secured for Conspiracy Esports.
There's your first. You die on the Cassante, but there was no gold to be lost on the Cassante. That is your first in. A shutdown over. We now have a 3-3 Jarvan. Okay, we're in a position where, all right, something good just happened, right? Clear win for Conspiracy Esports, right? Those are the plays we gotta find. We gotta up to 6% from Conspiracy Esports. You guys, you're not out of it yet, right? Ain't over till the heavy lady sings.
10% chance if they just don't take Rift Herald. I don't want to see that thing.
Yeah, but listen, it's to be quite honest with you, and this is again, Syndicate is showing prowess this game in this stomp.
For it. Lucid, don't do it.
He's going for it. Like, Syndicate is showing prowess this game, right? This is clearly a strong team that is looking to seal the deal for their finals appearance, right? However, like, Gunman is putting the team on his back. I don't care if it's an 0-3-2 Cassante. Absolutely outplayed, in my opinion. Just the ability to buy time, the discipline to hold that ultimate. Like I was saying before, like ultimate discipline and not blowing your wad too early is huge, and it works wonders for Gunman into CZ, who Gunman has frankly had the number of CZ just you know, from a mechanical and lane micro understanding standpoint this entire series, and today's and you know, this third game rather is no exception in my eyes.
This is one of the best series I've seen from Gunman, unironically, and he didn't even get to play his Aatrox, a quote from the chat. Yeah, I mean, I don't know much about Gunman. I don't know if I've cast him before. I don't think I have, but Swifty has, and this is definitely a good showing, despite, you know, the losses Conspiracy Esport has faced in the series so far.
I mean, I think this is a good showing from a lot of players on both teams, and that is to be expected. Right, these are two great teams, and the only reason, you know, I find comfort. Actually, I'll let this happen, Meta.
Yeah, dismount onto Gunman, has a flip back. This is a good engage from Conspiracy, but a lot of damage coming in. Dominus pop. Oh, the engage onto Red's Noxus, but will be able to get out all the heals and shields from the Ivern and keep everybody alive. There's a disengage Emperor's Divide. They're going to have to sacrifice Gunman all out, but Fireman are able to follow up on Fields and kill. And Gunman will be the one escaping, not Fields. Fields will go down.
Again, Gunman smurfs the literal crap out of that. and it's a wallet gap. Like that, there is nothing other to say there, in my opinion, than that was just a hard as heck wallet gap.
It is a
If
wallet
this
gap,
is
yeah.
if this is not a 5.5K gold difference, that fight is one for Conspiracy every day of the week. I think it was played very, very well, but we just find ourselves having given up way too much too early. Feels does nothing at this point in the game. This is a Hextech alternator, Nashor's Tooth.
I don't even know if Feels can out DPS the Ivern heals and shields. Like, I don't.
Precisely my point. I think that's
Yeah.
part of the reason, right? But back to my point before, like these are two very talented teams, and the other reason I take solace in
How are they securing Soul Point? What?
this is I frankly don't know. As I'm calling both these teams now, I'm kidding, but like the only reason I take solace in picking apart some of the decision making is some of the plays here is because obviously these two teams deserve to be here. All of these players deserve to be here. And again, what chance are we at now, Conspiracy, in chat? Conspiracy is giving us a 10% chance in chat. I'm going to keep it at 6 after that play. It was played very well, but the wallet gap was
They actually
huge.
have a clear win con now. Even if they all die on the next dragon just to secure dragon, like, that could win them the game.
Yeah, it is unfortunately not a great one, I think, for this comp as Gunman. I think we'll just walk out, unless Daisy does Daisy.
You don't like Infernal for Azir Jinx?
Oh my I'm sorry, I thought it was Hextech. I read it backwards. My brain, because on the blue side they start from the middle.
Yeah,
my bad. Yes. No, Infernal is excellent. You're absolutely right. If it's Chemtech, it's like not nearly as good on this team. I think there's just too much damage and healing that it doesn't matter. For Syndicate, like just says, okay, fine, you can have Chemtech. However, Infernal is huge. It's a huge DPS buff that maybe allows them to actually kill any member, get Jinx a reset, right? But again, like this is Yuntal Wild Arrow LDR Tristana into a Yuntal BF Sword Jinx. Like we need any damage we can get to close these kills and get those resets off.
Yeah, unfortunately, without a Baron, the 6 Grubs Rift Heralded Syndicate is kind of just taking more and more gold by taking these tier 2 turrets and just moving around the map and cleaning up all that standing gold. It's pretty much uncontested. 3 minutes 20 seconds until the Infernals will spawn, and Otacon's on the map, as well as more standing gold for Syndicate to pick up in the top lane. That's gotta hurt. I mean, that's just a lot more money, more gold diff in the pockets, you know? Like, it's gonna be a wallet check yet again. It's hard. It's hard to play the game.
Yeah, it is hard to play, and if you're Conspiracy, I think you have to recognize that, and you have to say to yourself, we need to find something that isn't a straight 5v5 fight.
Like
right?
something maybe here.
Like this.
No!
Daisy, this is why I hate Ivern. You literally don't have to play the game, and you're just like stopping teams from doing anything interesting. But what I also was going to say, and maybe we're going to see a play here on it, as Mojo's going to ward it up on the rel. What's interesting is we talked about a clear win condition for the side of Conspiracy, and that is an Infernal, or at least maybe not a win condition, but a means to actually play this game. Otacon is a means to seal the deal, in my opinion, if you're Syndicate, right? I think they can say, like, screw the Infernal if they get this Otacon, and quite honestly, like, it's about to go down. Lucid, you gotta move now. You gotta move fast. But Lucid is gonna wait in the bush, and I think going to accept fate, possibly not making finals. I really don't know what you do. Meta, I'm a little bit of a loss for words. I don't know what you do.
I mean, they're making a cross map play to get a tier 1 mid. This might open up their setup for the next dragon. However, they're gonna maybe lose Gunman here. It's 1v4 in the top lane, and I mean, yeah, it's the Otacon.
You win the push if you're Syndicate. It doesn't matter that they're already on tier 1 tower. Oh.
Feels kind of just panic using everything there. Super Mega Death Rocket will land in a 970 gold shutdown.
Thank God they're back.
For a typical name, but yes, they need to back as
they're
losing their last tier 2 turret. That's 6 turrets now for Syndicate. So much gold just off of the turret push. But that bounty picked up by Jinx. I mean, the items on a typical name.
Conspiracy in chat. KC 12%. We're climbing up a little bit.
Slowly.
Listen,
I mean, as the game progresses, that percentage is just going to increase and increase.
Yeah, right. Like
until it's over and then 0.
A fun Summoner School little lesson for all of our friends watching tonight on Titan Esports Twitch channel. So the reason gold differences are so important in the early game is that a gold difference of 2k at 2 minutes is literally double the gold, right, of the enemy team. Now a 2k gold difference at 20 minutes, when it's say 18 to 20k, is only a 10% gold difference, as opposed to a 50% gold difference for the team that is behind. Or I guess 100% technically if you're the team that's behind, right? So that is why, as the game goes on, it is going to get easier and easier, right? The wallet difference isn't going to matter nearly as much. However, this is enough of a wallet difference that they're going to be feeling that for a while here. But we've got to fight.
Lucius gets rooted up. The engage there from Mojo, followed up by all that damage from the Renekton. Fireman off to the side. Red Nox is in the back, and they're just going to wipe the floor, and this is going to secure their 3-0 victory and their ride to finals as Syndicate wipes almost with a near ace. They get 4. Conspiracy Esports.
It's almost a good look for them there, Meta, and they just didn't have any vision for Firemana flank. Just a perfect flank from Firemana, gets unbelievable damage off in that fight. It doesn't have to do anything other than throw a charm, a Q, literally pressed 4 buttons on keyboard and just demolish the team. Miracles can happen. I don't know if today is one of them, but we're going to see maybe them try to stop this. They have, like, nothing left to lose.
A reset for the Jinx! A reset for the Jinx! Here's the miracle play, and the Dragon's still up! They might get all of them and the Dragon! A typical name looking for something. A charm lands on Hayasaka. Feels running them down. Gunman running them down. Typical name, the excited wears off, and it looks like Syndicate's going to escape, but Feels can hold this turret here, and they can move on to the Dragon and secure their soul. I don't know how much this matters, but it's hope. It's life.
It is hope. Listen, as long as you are still in a game of League of Legends, you are taking that as a win. If you are Conspiracy Esports here, they had one shot to not lose the game. They pulled it off, and now they're here looking to get soul. Rel is going to try and stop this one, Meta, but I don't know what you can do.
I mean, if Mojo steals this, I'm alt F4ing immediately. But there it is, and it's a reset for a typical name. It might be a kill on Mojo, but they gotta be careful taking this fight. They do get the reset again, and CZ's on the back line. Does not get the stun on a typical name. Another kill for the Jinx, and they're going. This is a 4-on-2. Red Nox is about to go down. 4-on-2 again because Izzo has showed up, and that will be all she wrote for that fight. There's still gonna be a 6.5k gold deficit, but it is 4-on-2 on the map still, and an Infernal Soul secured by Conspiracy Esports.
I almost said Rush Baron. That would be the misplay there. Do not take that as advice. Rushing Baron would be a misplay. They need to get their gold and then I think move on to this. But the way with how death timers are working for Syndicate, I don't think they can just immediately rush back. However, Conspiracy has to be cognizant of the answer play and the tempo play to pick tempo back up in their favor for the next few minutes is to hard force a fight with all 5 members on this Baron. But Jinx is back. Okay, Jinx isn't back in the game, but Jinx is almost kind of approaching back in the game.
So something really important here is coming up on this next fight. A typical name, the Jinx, will not have Flash. That is really, really good for Syndicate and really, really bad for Conspiracy. Because if they do find that pick onto a typical name, the game's over. It's all up to this Jinx and their teammates to keep them alive. And without the Jinx, yeah, I mean, they're not going to win a fight.
I think we need a CP. Something's got to happen now.
Yeah,
something's got to happen now. Somebody's got a blue ward. Check it.
Lucid's got to go in for the steal. 4K, 3K. They're going to hold it at 3K. 3.5. Oh, it's getting lower. Lucid goes in, but do they have the damage? Jinx Rocket! Oh my god! Red team has stolen the Baron! Oh my god, does that help them defend the Nexus? They still have a Nexus turret as well.
Absolutely, they'll take the death. If they don't get the Baron, they lose. But perfect Jinx ult to throw the timing off. Like, Syndicate does the right thing. They hold damage to throw off Lucid's ability to track when the smite steal needs to happen, right? In a 50-50 situation, if your team doesn't hold damage, I give the enemy jungler the advantage to steal every day of the week. That is how jungle smite steals work, and that's why you see them happen. However, they do the right thing. They hold the damage for the Baron finish to bring it below 1200 HP for Ivern Smite. However, Jinx throws a wrench into that plan. Says, I'm just going to Super Mega Death Rocket, combo, communicate it with my Jarvan. They secure the Baron, and they live to see another day. Guys, okay, guys in chat, friends in chat.
I'm at like 51% now. If
I'm
this
not
like
50. I'm okay. I'm not a 50.
I'm dead serious. Like if CE
18.
wasn't 0-2 in like the series, and this was like a fresh game and fresh teams, like the team on red side right now has a 51% chance of winning this game. They are in a winning spot. They have it's not even a big gold deficit anymore. We're in the 50Ks. This doesn't matter. This gold deficit doesn't matter. You have Infernal Soul, Baron, and you're getting extra XP and gold from the supers coming in top. You're in a winning spot if you just don't lose right now.
I absolutely hear you. I'm actually gonna let you keep going on this one for the cast. Oh my god.
Yeah, Izzy gets down low. The depth charge and the follow-up engage from Lucid. Could this be a reset? Oh, Izzy lives! And Mojo on the run. Fields with the flash engage. Gunman trying to follow up on it. Charmed up is Fields. A typical name in the backline, not able to do anything. Doesn't want to overextend without flash. Has the Azir turrets to hide under, but it's just going to be Hayasaka and a typical name in the backline. The last two standing against 5. They are low, and they are diving under Azir turrets. Super minions in the base.
Have to clear this wave.
There has to be a reset, and there has to be some insane peel from Hayasaka. A flash engage from Mojo, and it will be GG as a typical name goes down, and it's a complete ace 5-zip. Syndicate, like a dragon, will end it and go on to the championship.
Wait, what's going on here with the towers?
One of them was bugged.
Oh,
there was only one Nexus turret up. Yeah.
Got it. Oh. Wow. What a game. And to the point before that blew up, I was going to make was I think you are correct by looking at the numbers. However, looking at where that gold was sort of shifted on the team, Azir was still not a champion. So when we saw Azir make what in my opinion might have been like the first time we saw a really effective Azir ult that game, nothing happened, right? And I think they just they could feel that they were okay. We have the ability to win this game, right? Like they're doing it, they're making a comeback, and they hard forced just a little too much, just a second early.
If they get that kill on Izzo and the reset comes through, it's so winnable. But I don't know. That J4 build might be something. I mean, I guess Serpents is maybe the call if you're trying to get that first kill, but it's just they come up just barely short there at the end. And it was almost the amazing comeback. But let's be honest, Syndicate was never gonna let that happen. Look at that.
I mean, just looking at these damage graphs though, the fact that it is so close, and that game was so close is nigh a miracle for Conspiracy Esports. If there's one thing to take away from this season, Conspiracy, it is that you are talented players. You almost pulled off a comeback that I would have been shocked to see ever happen, and you almost did it. Much to my sort of chagrin. However, unfortunately, that is where we're gonna have to wish Conspiracy Esports the best of luck as they bow out in their final series in semifinals of Titan Conqueror this season. Congratulations to Syndicate Like a Dragon. The team that went undefeated in regular season is now going to walk into finals still undefeated, and is looking like a threat of a team. If anything changed game 3, call me a hater, for unnecessarily harping, I guess, on the lack of early game efficiency and proficiency from the side of Syndicate Like a Dragon. I was thoroughly unimpressed the first 2 games with their early game, and they shut me up game 3. I think somebody was listening to call and was like, okay, Ross is talking too much smack here. Let's make sure that we show him up game 3, and they did. So I think obviously there are still things to shore up if you're Syndicate Like a Dragon. I haven't had the pleasure, and obviously you haven't either, of seeing on the other side of the Titan Streamland, what
Oh, it's
the
2-1.
it is 2-1.
Yeah, Syndicate
So
reboot card is up 2-1. So it might be Syndicate versus Syndicate in the
it could be
finals.
Syndicate versus Syndicate. That'll be an interesting thing. I'm sure those teams know a lot about each other, if that is the case. But I don't know exactly what that team looks like right now, the team that will be entering finals from the other side of semifinals. But what I do know is Syndicate clearly is a team that deserves to be in finals. They're showing that to us this series. But they're also a team that still has things to shore up. Absolutely, for sure. I'm sure the team, whoever makes finals on the other side, will be able to say the same thing. But nonetheless, I'm looking forward to that series, Meta.
I want to know if we have the same agreement. Who is your MVP of the series tonight?
So it has to be on the winning team.
Yeah, for the winning team. For the winning team, yeah. They call that like a SVP if it's the losing team. I don't know what that means. Something from Marvel Rivals, I think.
Okay, I think I have something that you might disagree with, and you're either gonna hard agree or hard disagree.
All right, yeah.
My MVP is Mojo.
Yes, I agree. I want to give it to the support.
I
Let's
think
go.
that it is easy to look at Reds this last game,
Mhm.
and I think it's easy to look at Izzo from the first game.
Yep.
I don't think either of the two of them look this good without the way Mojo played this game. That is not to say the Hayasaka also didn't perform very well. I think that Tom Kench game
Sure.
was exquisite a lot of the time.
Exquisite.
But I think it would be unfair to say CZI. I think CZI sort of had to play a little bit more of the passive role this series.
Mm.
I think Fireman has struggled this series to really find his footing in an early lead, except Game 3. Right, we didn't necessarily see Fireman do much until Game 3, where
Mhm.
To his credit, he kind of popped off in the Ari and played exquisitely well. But yeah, Mojo every game I think was a huge catalyst. The sort of the Wizard of Oz, the man behind the curtain,
Yes.
just made stuff happen. On the Seraphine, on the Alistar, if I'm not mistaken, it was, as well as this game on the row.
Yeah. I have to hard
Uh,
agree.
what about Nace, by the way?
What's it? The other team?
Like, yeah, SVP.
I mean, we were talking about being gunman the whole time. I mean, I might just stick to it. I think a typical name, obviously playing the Jinx, being consistent throughout, but consistency doesn't really have as much of an impact as like who's keeping you guys in the game, who's being like that playmaker to kind of bring you back. The plays that Gunman was able to make on Zach and just the way the Cassante kind of worked out in game 3. Yeah, we didn't see much in game 1, but I don't know. I'm still on that Gunman train for Ace.
For Ace or SVP. I'm gonna go with a typical name on this one.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
think game 3, Gunman, quite frankly, for most of that game was the only thing keeping Conspiracy somewhat alive, even if it was. Someone will give me in chat what the percentage was. But I think a typical name's Jinx was one of the more impressive things that I did see, even from like behind with literally no income, was able to find some of these resets and like find the positioning. But again, a lot of that, to sort of your point, I think a lot of that rested, at least in game 2, off of the back of Hayasaka's Devours on the Tom Kench.
For sure.
So clearly, I think a lot of players had very, very good moments here. And to point out something for Lucid, I'm so impressed with how a lot of that Mordekaiser game went for picking Mordekaiser. I don't think Mordekaiser is ever something we should be picking there, but you prove me wrong to some extent, and I think Feels' early game prowess, at least for the first 2 games, Feels beat Fireman comfortably in lane. Like over the course of this series, 2 out of 3 games, Feels was the better mid laner for the early game. So to me, I think everyone had things that they contributed to on this team. I think this team has much to look forward to for wherever they go next. But yeah, I guess that's all she wrote, Meta, for us tonight.
Yeah. I will close
Titan.
this out with all of that. Mojo is our MVP. Syndicate like a dragon will take the dub 3-0 tonight in advance to the championships for Titan Conqueror. And on the other side of the bracket, please, after this, if you want to watch more, go to Titan Esports 2 on Twitch and find out who Syndicate will face next week. And we'll see you there. Have a good night, y'all. Might have been my best closeout.